Welcome to Speech and Language Therapy in the Early Years in Hackney. Today I'll be talking to you about speech and language therapy in relation to your nursery setting. I'll remind you who our service sees, talk about referrals to the service, briefly speak about the interventions that we offer, discuss our training opportunities for you, and provide some tips and resources for you to follow up with. This webinar should have been sent to you by your linked speech and language therapist. Each nursery setting will be linked to an early years speech and language therapist who will be your point of contact for any support for specific children in your nursery or any general speech and language questions you may have. If you are unsure who your linked speech and language therapist is, please contact us on the details at the end of this presentation. Please feel free to look through this presentation at your own pace to find out different pieces of information. So, moving to the first slide, who do we see in the early years service? Children aged under 5 years with moderate to severe language and speech difficulties, selective mutism, social skills difficulties, stammering, and voice difficulties. We also support children with eating and drinking difficulties. As a service, we believe in prevention and early identification. We rely on working with other professionals and settings to identify the children who need our support. This brings us to our next slide, how to refer to speech and language therapy. For children under 5 years in nursery, they can be referred by completing the referral form attached to this email or on our website and sending this via email to our admin team. Parents can self-refer or can be referred by professionals with parents' consent.
Families will be invited to a local children's centre in Hackney to have a face-to-face appointment with a speech and language therapist to see their child.
Please encourage parents to attend these sessions if you know they are booked in. Parents will have a 45-minute assessment with a speech and language therapist and be given advice and decide together the next steps for their child's care. All of this will be written up into a report which will be shared with families and should be sent out to you as the child's nursery setting. Following initial assessment, these are the options for intervention on our next slide. The first option may be further assessment. In this instance, the speech and language therapist may need to carry out further assessment with this child around a particular area of need. This could be something like looking closely at their speech sounds or further assessing voice difficulties or stammering. It could also be to do further observations of social communication skills. Once the further assessment session has taken place, it would then be decided whether or not therapy blocks need to take place or whether the family can be discharged with advice at this point. The next option may be parent-child therapy. The family will be offered a block of therapy either virtually or in the clinic to support them to understand their child's needs around their communication or eating and drinking skills. The family will develop goals and strategies with the speech and language therapist and carry these out during the therapy block. The speech and language therapist should share these strategies and goals with nursery at this time. If you need any more information, then make sure to contact your speech and language therapist to find out more. The next option may also be setting support. If it's felt that the child's needs need to be supported in the nursery setting with the child and their key worker, then the speech and language therapist will contact setting directly to set this up. We'll also try to involve families as much as possible in this work. And finally, at initial assessment, we may also be referring the child to other professionals for assessment. For example, we may refer the child to audiology for a hearing check. We may refer the child to first step psychology if there's a need for behaviour support. If we have seen the child during the assessment, we may also be referring to the paediatrician at Hackney Arc if there is a need for a developmental assessment, and we have discussed this with parents. Moving to our fifth slide, I'll be talking about the training opportunities from speech and language therapy. We know the importance of providing a nursery environment that promotes communication development for all children. As a result, we're running a number of training packages for you and your staff to attend this year. Attached to this email is the leaflet all about Launchpad for Language and the menu of interventions that we offer. This includes the details of those packages and the pricing. Please make contact with the service directly to discuss any of these training opportunities and how they can work with your setting. The next slide is all about developing communication within your room. Here we have some top tips for play. We have seen some fantastic initiatives across Hackney nurseries over the last few years, including running language groups, holding language walks for parents, and using visual supports around your classrooms. Today specifically, we want to talk about play and interaction in the room. It's really important that key workers are able to play with their key children for around 5 minutes each day. Within these play sessions, we have some golden rules that we would advise that key workers are using with the children. The first tip would be to position yourself at the child's level. This means coming right down to where they're playing, whether that's at a table or on the floor, making sure the child can see your eyes and your mouth so they can really glean all of the communication skills from you. The next tip is to watch and follow the child's lead. Rather than trying to introduce your own ideas in the play, sit back and watch to see how the child plays and then join in exactly in the way that they are playing. This will hold their attention more and you're more likely to get more engagement out of them. The next tip is face watching. This means watching really closely for the child's eye contact. Remain silent. If the child looks at you, then use a comment about how the child is playing or what you can see they're doing. Once the child looks away, stop speaking completely. At this point, the child is now thinking about all of the words they've heard from you and isn't ready to hear any more. Continue playing in the same way for 5 minutes. Slides 7 to 8 contain useful sources of information to learn about communication development. If you right-click on the link and click Open Hyperlink, you'll be taken directly to these pages. I'd invite you to have a look through in your own time to find useful information to share with your key workers in your setting. Slide number 9 is all about our Facebook page. If you click on the link in the same way, you'll be taken directly there. If your nursery has a Facebook page, then please subscribe to ours. You'll receive regular updates about our service, as well as being able to access information about communication development. Slide number 10 is all about the Get Hackney Talking website. In the same way, you can click on the link or indeed type in gethackneytalking.co.uk into your browser and be taken straight to our website. Here you'll see there is a wealth of information for both professionals and parents, all about communication and eating and drinking development. There's a section dedicated to professionals and you'll find lots of information to help support your nursery setting. If you move to slide number 11 here, you'll also see we have a leaflet section, both for settings and parents. There are specific leaflets for early years on a range of different topics around eating and drinking and communication. Please feel free to download these and share with key workers or parents as needed. Thank you for watching today's webinar. Please contact us directly to find out who your linked speech and language therapist is and for any other inquiries about speech and language. Our email address is hello@gethackneytalking.co.uk or the telephone number 0207 683 4262. Thanks very much and we look forward to working with you soon.